Hello everyone, this is Amber with Staying Crafty. Today I'm going to be making a stamped card using this adorable stamp set called Mix Up of Cuteness. So it's a brand new stamp set to me, and I'm using these adorable cherries, which is one of the reasons I bought this set. So here I'm just stamping it a whole bunch of times on scratch paper to practice and kind of condition the stamp. So then I felt like I was ready to go to my Whisper White cardstock from Stampin' Up. And this first one here, I smudged the top leaves just a little bit, so I decided to go ahead and stamp it one more time. And I was happy with the second time. So now I'm doing some coloring in, and I do love my Stampin' Write markers. I love having all these colors that coordinate really well with, their papers. And they're just fun colors to begin with. So I'm able to color in most things just fine. I don't think they'd work real well for things you want more realistic, like people, but I don't have like a set of Copics or anything yet anyway, so this is what I color with. So now I'm just cutting out my cherries, and I did just a super rough cut to begin with, just to make it easier. And I left a lot larger border of white than I normally would, because I'm going to be popping these cherries up on top of red cardstock that's basically the same color as the cherries that I colored in, and I figured if there wasn't a white border they wouldn't show as much as I wanted. So now I'm just folding my cardstock in half, and I could have pre-scored it, but in this case I didn't, and I kind of wish I would have, because I had sort of a hard time getting a nice crisp edge on this, but I did get it done. It just took a little bit of extra doing. And now I'm just trimming an inch off the bottom, just on one portion of the card. You want to do this with the card open. You do not want to go through both layers. And you'll get something that looks like this. And now I am just punching a nice border. I love my doily lace punch from Martha Stewart. It's very elegant and beautiful, and I'm just using Whisper White here as well. Now I'm just lining it up with the card open so I can get it exactly how I want it, and I don't want it hanging off the edge because that makes it more vulnerable, I guess, if it were to get bumped around. So I'm putting the adhesive directly on my lace border, and the reason for that is it just seemed easier to see where I needed the adhesive. So I had set the flap down first to kind of measure that, and then I put the adhesive down, and then I closed the flap on top of the adhesive. And now I'm just trimming off the size I need, get nice clean edges that match perfectly with my card. And from the same stamp set, I am just stamping a little hello greeting. I thought that would be cute. Now I've got my Cuttlebug out. I'm using my A plate. This is a Fiskars texture plate. The design I want is face up. And then I'm going to get the piece of paper that I'm embossing. And the correct side I'm putting face down. And then the Spellbinders Tan embossing mat. I've heard of people cutting up mouse pads and various things like that, but whatever you use, it needs to be squishy, and you might use a different plate on top depending on its thickness. I got this from customcrops.com. And then I put a C plate on top, and basically the Spellbinders Tan embossing mat is going to squish down inside of those dots. So that's how we're going to get our embossing. And the deboss side will be face up. So now I'm just going to be putting some layers together. There's just a nice white layer. And then the next layer I'm going to be putting on top is the piece of cardstock we just embossed, actually. So that's the next step for me. If you wanted to make this embossing pop more, you could probably drag like a white ink pad across it. I kind of wish I would have, or even maybe do some sanding or something like that, but I just left it simple. It shows up in person, but it doesn't show up as well on video as it would have if I had chosen to do something like that. So now I've just got my stamped and cut out cherries, and I'm just using Pop Dots as the adhesive on them. And I did end up cutting this pop dot here to put on the leaves. And that's one great thing about pop dots and dimensionals and other adhesives like them, is you can cut them up and make them the size that you need. And that really makes a big difference sometimes in these small spaces, because I wouldn't want the top of my cherries to end up getting droopy because I couldn't have pop dots up there as well. So I notice here that there's a little bit showing that's hanging off the edge, so I just go ahead and go in at an angle and trim it. Pretty easy to do. And then I just position my cherries where I want them and I firmly place them down. Pretty easy stuff. So then I decided I wanted to add some faux stitching around the edges just as a finishing touch, and I use a Uniball Signo gel pen. I got mine from Stampin' Up, but there are other places you can get them, and I'm not the best at this, but you know, it's not rocket science, it's not perfect, but it came out okay. So here's the finished card. Nice, cute, simple little hello. I think it would make a really nice thank you card also. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and very crafty day. If you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure and check out my blog, stayingcrafty.blogspot.com.